All right, today we're going to test out this 2-bay Bowtie outdoor TV antenna from Stellar Labs. This antenna comes from Newark Electronics in Canada and the US, and if you check out their website, you'll see this antenna is available for a very reasonable price. Assembly was pretty much complete out of the box. All I had to do was attach the mast clamp to the back, and on the front, the elements stand away from the back reflector a bit. All I had to do was slide them out on these bars and then tighten those wing nuts, and assembly was basically complete. Size wise, this antenna is 16 inches high by about 21.5 inches wide, and the front to back depth is about 4.5 inches, and that makes it small for an outdoor antenna, but sized very nicely for an attic installation. It looks like these bow tie whiskers have been made longer to better reflect the size needed for today's TV frequency spectrum. TV channels nowadays broadcast on RF channels 2 through 36, and those channels typically broadcast with longer wavelengths compared to older versions of the TV frequency spectrum, where channels transmitted all the way up to channel 69 and had shorter wavelengths. You could get away with an antenna that has shorter elements, but today's channels need slightly longer elements in order to be received reliably, and I think this antenna will fit the bill for today's TV frequency spectrum. The build quality of this antenna is pretty good. It's made of mostly metal, and I like that the bow tie elements are wide and flat, giving them a little more surface area to pick up signal. There's a built-in 75 ohm coax connector here, no transformer wires dangling down. There's a little channel to fit the coax in, as well as a clamp here for the cable that also acts as a strain relief. And the mast clamp has wing nuts on it, which makes for a tool-free installation. Little install detail here. Got that coax in the clamp and groove. Keeps it nice and straight and prevents any strain on the cable. Following my usual antenna testing routine, it's up on a mast about 17 feet in the air, pointed in the direction of my local broadcast stations. They all transmit on the VHF band, channels 2, 4, and 9, and at low power levels, 1.2 and 4.5 kilowatts. And I'm about 7 miles through the air from the broadcast signals. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Low VHF channel 2 CKPR coming in with a signal strength in the low 70s. Low VHF channel 4 CHFD also coming in the low 70s. And high VHF channel 9 TVO coming in the mid 60s. These are some pretty good results for an antenna that's really designed for the UHF TV band. Typically, these bow tie antennas are made to receive stations on the UHF TV band, channels 14 to 36. But if you live in an area like mine where you're fairly close to the broadcast towers, it's very possible you'll also be able to receive VHF channels 2 through 13. I think this 2-bay bow tie TV antenna from Stellar Labs will work just fine in most city or close suburban reception areas on UHF channels 14 to 36. And if you live close enough to the broadcast towers, any stations broadcasting on VHF channels 2 through 13 should be receivable as well. The 30-mile range claim on the box is more than reasonable, and good on Stellar Labs for not exaggerating this like other antenna companies do. I do think that this antenna might actually reach further than 30 miles if you lived in the ideal conditions, strong broadcast signals, and a minimal number of signal obstructions like trees or terrain variations. It's very possible that you could receive signals from longer than 30 miles under the right conditions.